Okay, welcome everyone. I know we have some people waiting. If you hadn't guessed, we were being slightly chatty Cathy's in the background, but the reason for that is because we have a lot of very exciting stuff that we're working on, and not everything we can share with you just yet, but some of it you already know about, and some of it we'll talk about now. First off, I always like to start with, I don't know, letting people filter in, and also the weather. It is really pretty right now, actually, here in South Dakota. Bright blue skies and birds are chirping, and I've been using the Merlin app, which is a bird identifier, so you can like let it use your microphone on your phone and it'll tell you what birds are like making noise. So I know for sure that I have grackles and house sparrows here just that hang out in the backyard and also hang out on my balcony. So now I'm like, oh, I need to get bird food. I need to make some healthy suet for them, and that'll be coming up shortly. But how about you, Catherine? What is the weather where you're at?
Ah, we've had a rainy couple of days, but the lake is so full from having had a really intense winter. So when the snow melted, the lake is higher than it's been, which is absolutely gorgeous. And I saw the swans.
Ooh,
Today, the swans are back. And it's like so interesting because I can't figure out where they go. Like they were gone for the winter, and do they fly somewhere?
I
I
would think they fly south. I don't know where exactly. I've never seen swans flying though. Like I've definitely seen geese, but not swans.
Yeah, me neither. All I know is now they're back and they had babies, and so I think the babies are like teenagers. But it's so beautiful. And so I'm starting to get the deck all set up so that I can spend more time outside. It's
Yeah,
wonderful.
last weekend I went to a park here that had a nice walking trail, and they have like a little pond there, and there were geese with their little babies, and also frogs. And then they also had a waterway that went throughout the trail. They had a name for it, and I don't remember what it was. But they also had turtles, like wild turtles, which is very
Mm.
exciting to me, and frogs. And there was also a sign that said that there are beavers in that area, in that water. I haven't seen any yet, but
Wow.
that is cool. So I'm going to have to visit again. I was thinking of what I wanted to do this weekend. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to head downtown and then I'll take the Riverwalk back.
Yeah.
Like all the way back and then back to the apartment is probably, I don't know, somewhere around, I want to say like maybe between 6 to 8 miles, but I haven't tracked it yet. So it'll be a good weekend walk.
Oh, that'll be fabulous.
Yeah.
Sandy says it's 81 in Kansas. I think she's no Kentucky. Sorry. 81 in Kentucky where she is today, and she says she loves her bird feeder. She has a camera, so they have many pictures of of hummingbirds.
I love hummingbirds. I want to get some flowers for my deck and see if I can get some more like butterflies and bees and hopefully hummingbirds. Um, but yeah, I love seeing all those. And Marilee also said, greetings from the drizzling Pacific Northwest, as it is known for. And then Diane said, hello from Northwest Ohio. Hello. And Jenny from the Isle of Wight says, hi, Catherine and Siobhan. It sounds very exciting in your new area. Yes, it is. There's even just like walking around the suburbs. I really like doing, they have a lot of trees through that area, and it's fun to look at all the little houses and wave to my neighbors. And yeah, it's fun.
Oh, it's wonderful. I wish I could come visit actually, because I've never been to South Dakota.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. There's an interesting culture because anytime I can, I'm educating my husband on like the cultural regions of the US and where they come from, and like why is the South not the actual South all the way across? Like where does that come from? What is the Midwest? Why is it not actually the Midwest?
Mhm.
And I was pointing out that typically, like, the strictest definition of the Midwest comes from before the Louisiana Purchase, where everything west of the Mississippi River was not purchased yet. And so that's why it's that Great Lakes region around there.
Hmm.
But also, it technically, if you look at the census and if you look at the culture of the people, it actually extends out to the Missouri River, which is a bit further west. And the Missouri River at one of the northern points cuts through South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
And the way my mom and I came up when I was heading out here to move, we saw both sides of that in the more southern portion of South Dakota. And what's really interesting is that on the west side of the Missouri River, you'll see a bunch of signs talking about like Western culture and best coffee shop in the West and like all this stuff. But then east of the Missouri River, it's talking about the Midwest and this is the best thing in the Midwest. And like one side has cowboy boots and the other side has like a different culture entirely. And so you can actually see like the physical differentiator between that. And it comes down to, for one, who immigrated there. So West was primarily like Texas, Colorado, and Kansas, who immigrated over for ranching and then also the gold rush in the west of South Dakota. And then on the east side, it was primarily German and Scandinavian immigrants during like the 1800s. And that is a lot of what built up the Midwest culture. And then also, one side is more ranching and gold rush, and the other side is more agriculture, which is
Mm-hmm.
another differentiator between Western and Midwest culture. But it's a really clear uh, experience. Like, I want to take my husband through there and see, like, our cultural regions are not arbitrary. Like, you can actually see them even in like the accents of the eastern South Dakota accent is more Midwestern, and then the western South Dakota,
Mm-hmm.
especially rural, is more of a blend between West and South or Midwest.
When will he be able to come over from Sweden?
Probably in early 2027 or mid 2027. It largely just depends on how long the I-130 takes, which is currently in process. That's my sponsorship for him to come over, like saying I'm financially responsible for him and all that. But I don't know. It's a bit of a black box. Like once you apply, who knows? Done when it's done. But the general estimates of other people who are going through and the movement time and processing time for the last two parts through Sweden is should be beginning of to middle of 2027. So not actually that far off.
Yeah,
And
that's not
then
that
like
far.
yeah, and once we get a car, he wants to do a lot of road trips, which I'm totally for. I've done a lot of road trips, particularly when I was a kid, and it's some of my favorite memories ever. Even like adult road trips are some of my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And Marilee said, I've been to South Dakota when I was 10 years old. My dad was born in a tiny farm town called Brant, which is not far from Sioux City. Very cool. Yeah, I really love South Dakota so far. I really like the people. I like having a river nearby to go and look at it in the smaller waterways. I love the split culture of the West versus the East, and just being back in the Midwest since I'm over on the East side, which I grew up in Indiana. It feels very familiar and very familial being around family.
Mm, good.
Yeah.
So, what's new and coming up with lipedema?
Yeah, so after our weather report and our history lesson, we do have stuff coming up that's actually relevant to lipedema. And the first thing that is super imminent is going to be we have a CSIG coaching group tonight at is 5,
Six.
yeah, 6 p.m. Eastern time.
In an
And
hour and 13 minutes.
yes, so not that far off at all. And this is the coaching special interest group for nutrition, so making keto doable. And I'm really looking forward to this one. I did a presentation on Monday to introduce some concepts for people to think about and ruminate on. And I'm really curious to see what people are going to come back with. And then we'll also talk about like troubleshooting things, if they're having any struggles, and how their progress is for whatever changes they're trying to make. So not everybody in the group is keto, which is totally cool. We have some people who are more generally going towards whole foods or moderate carb or low carb, and some people who are doing keto. But it's more about just trying to implement changes in a way that feels doable and that should hopefully get easier over time, and seeing what kind of improvements that we can observe when we do that, which is very fun. And we always learn some very cool things over the C6. So, besides that, we also have a free webinar coming up. And this one is primarily for clinicians, but anybody is invited. It's open to everybody. And this is Lipedema 101 for clinicians. And this is in partnership with Nutrition Network, because our lipedema course through Nutrition Network has launched. And we're trying to get people informed on what that is, and hopefully get some clinicians signed up. And that could be doctors, could be nurses, could be nutritionists, lymphatic specialists, physical therapists, all of that good stuff. This would be good for all of them. So this is at the Evergreen link, which hopefully everybody has bookmarked and they check in occasionally. But it is learn.lipedema-simplified.org/free-webinar. And just like with our other free webinars, if you can't be there in person, go ahead and sign up right now anyway, because you'll get the recording afterwards, so you can watch it later. And then, so this is going to be basically an overview, talking about the framework for diagnosis and then recommended treatments. So really good. So if your physician or anybody else on that list I talked about earlier is interested in learning about lipedema, but they don't know where to start, go ahead and send them this link. Let them know it's a free sign up, that they can get the recording as long as they register. And this will be a good intro for them. And then if they want to dive in deeper, they can sign up for the Nutrition Network course that goes through everything. Like, as it's really comprehensive. But the cool thing about the course is that, and I've done Nutrition Network courses as well, and I really like this component, is you can sign up. So you purchase the course, and then you do it at your own pace. So you finish each lecture, you ask a couple questions, and then by the end of the course, you will know a lot about lipedema. And then, if you want to go even further, you can also buy our textbook, which is also out. So these things are built to be very complementary. And yeah, it's going to be really fun. So I should also mention when that is. That might be helpful. So that is going to be on the 21st, Thursday the 21st of this month, and it's going to be 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern. And this, again, it's primarily aimed at clinicians, but if you want to come hang out, because I mean, there's going to be stuff to learn. And even just, for example, like coming and watching and then being able to communicate what you learned to your physician can often be really helpful. I mean, that's been brought up before of, I want to talk to my doctor about this, but I don't know how to start, or I don't have the language like built into my vocabulary yet to talk about it in a way that they'll understand. You can come and join us here, and then you'll build some of that vocabulary that can be helpful.
The other thing I want to mention briefly, because we'll talk about it more coming up, is that we have a project we've been working on called the Medical Go Bag Kit. What is that? That is, when you're pregnant, there's something when you're pregnant, which is that at some point the baby's going to come. And so you have a bag right by the hall closet inside, ready to go for when you're ready to go to the hospital, right? We all have chronic diseases. A number of us have gotten into the ER, me included, but one of our members, Esther, incredible woman. She has a number of comorbidities and got into the emergency room And, you know, and she was without her compression. She needed her compression because they ended up keeping her. She was in the ICU. The bottom line is we began to realize, prepare. Prepare for what you need so that if you have to go to the ER, you have what you need. When I went to the ER, people were laughing at me. The first thing I always grab is my laptop. So I was in the ER with my laptop and I was like giving my password to Dr. Carmody because I'm like, if anything happens to me, if I die, you got to save everything, whatever it is for you. So we are having a project. We're going to be having a free webinar going through what it is, why it is, what are some of the things we recommend, and we're going to be actually doing a course like the CSIG, but not a CSIG. But it will be a special interest group for putting together this emergency preparedness. We've been talking about preparedness. It's absolutely fabulous. I wish I had had it when I was in and out of the ER last year or 2 years ago, whenever it was.
Hmm.
So that's coming up.
Yeah, and I would think going through that special interest group, you'd probably be able to apply a lot of what you learned to even like the day to day stuff of, okay, I need a travel bag. What needs to be in that? Because, like, for me personally, I travel a lot for work. And my husband currently also lives overseas. So I usually travel there once a year. And it's like, well, what's all the stuff that I need if I'm going to be away from home for a certain period of time? And a lot of this is going to apply to that. And then also having like an actual medical go kit of there's just a lot to think about, not even just of what you're putting in the bag, but then also
Yeah.
the information you have to have on hand.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what goes into it. We've got a workbook. We've got forms you can fill out. We've got something that it's me. I'm the one who brought in the 5 wishes. The 5 wishes are, what do you want somebody to know if you cannot speak for yourself in a situation that is of emergency in nature?
Hmm.
Like, you know, put a cold compress on my forehead.
Yeah, or don't do a glucose trip. Only do an electrolyte trip. That
Yeah,
would be on mine.
yeah, yeah. It's that kind of stuff. So, anyway, that's coming up. We'll be talking about it more. And at least from where we are, the weekend is here.
Hmm.
This is now Friday, almost 5 o'clock, and we have our C6 starting up in an hour. And yeah, have a wonderful weekend, Siobhan and everybody else.
Yeah, I expect it's going to be a very lovely weekend this week. And we will see everybody next time, where we will again talk about what is new and up and coming about lipedema, and also probably a little bit about the weather and other things that are going on. But we hope everybody has enjoyed hanging out for a little while, and thanks so much for stopping by. We always like to see you, and we'll see you next time.